Hey everyone, it's July 16th, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share with serial killer Charles Ray Hatcher, known as Crazy Charlie, who murdered at least 15 children and a prisoner between 1961 and 1982, and that is him right up there. Hatcher was born in rural Missouri in 1929, and his father was an abusive alcoholic. Small for his age and teased relentlessly in school, he would often lash out and physically attack classmates. When he was just 6, he was with his older brother who was flying a kite with a copper wire. The kite struck a high-voltage power line, electrocuting his brother, killing him instantly in front of Charlie. Shortly after this incident, his parents divorced, and Hatcher spent the rest of his childhood with his mother as she cycled through a series of marriages and divorces. His first job came at the age of 18 as a pin setter at a bowling alley, but soon left to drive a truck for a logging company. Just 2 weeks into his employment, Hatcher stole a truck from them, eventually being convicted of auto theft, for which he received a 2-year suspended sentence. This was the start of a string of crimes that saw him in and out of prison 6 times over the next decade, including convictions for burglary, auto theft, forgery, and escaping from prison. In 1959, Hatcher's crimes ramped up when he attempted to kidnap a newsboy, but luckily the kid escaped, and Hatcher was sent back to prison after he was pulled over in a stolen vehicle. In 1961, Hatcher is believed to have killed for the first time when he was the only one who had been in proximity to a fellow inmate that was sexually assaulted and stabbed to death. Not enough evidence existed to get a murder conviction, so he spent time in solitary confinement, but no additional punishment was levied. At this time, Hatcher requested psychiatric help, but was refused, and there's no telling if that may have helped prevent things from getting worse. He was released in 1963 and headed west to California, settling in the East Bay. In 1969, Hatcher killed again, this time abducting a 12-year-old boy who he strangled with his bare hands. Just a few days later, another boy went missing in San Francisco, and Hatcher was found beating and sexually assaulting the child. The boy survived, and Hatcher was back in custody, serving time for the second attack, but the earlier child murder wasn't tied to him until well over a decade later. After receiving parole in 1977, Hatcher returned to Missouri, where a 4-year-old boy turned up dead after having been sexually abused. A mentally impaired local man who'd been abused himself as a child confessed to the murder, but it was in fact Hatcher's work. He was arrested multiple times for attempting to assault children over the next few years, always being released after short stints in psychiatric facilities. In 1982, Hatcher was finally connected to a murder when an 11-year-old girl was found dead and evidence placed him at the scene. When questioned by police, he confessed to killing 15 children and drew a map leading to the remains of his missing victims. The prisoner who falsely confessed to his crime was released, and Hatcher was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. In 1984, he was convicted of the 11-year-old's murder and requested that the jury give him the death penalty. They refused, and he was set to face further trials for his additional murders when he hanged himself just 4 days later. Who knows if earlier psychiatric intervention could have helped Hatcher and saved the lives of more than a dozen children, but it certainly wouldn't have hurt. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so they can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Charles Ray Hatcher, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.